Hi everybody. Excuse me. Just clearing my throat there. And welcome to recovery update number 4. Doing okay actually. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do a vlog last week as I promised. Just I wasn't feeling very well. I'm much better now. But not before I actually threw up quite spectacularly first thing on Monday morning, which wasn't great. It was very public and very embarrassing, so I'm not proud of that. But I also know that that is a very human thing. So what I'm basically up to this week has been, or what I have been up to this week, has been just the usual stuff. You know, like I say, just getting over not being well over the weekend just gone, and well, over the last weekend, the previous weekend. Just going to work, going to the gym, writing where I can. Oh yeah, that's another point actually. One poem that I wrote on Monday night has actually got over 900 hits, and I'm really pleased about that. It's the most number of hits I've ever got for a single poem, you know, by far. You know, I think the final total is 950. There may be more likes at some point, I don't know yet, but we shall have to see. Anyway, I just wanted to check in with you all to see how you're doing. I hope your week's been good. As I say, mine's been a bit of a mixed bag really. Wasn't so great at the beginning of the week, but then towards the end, but then sort of like the second half of the week it was fine. I'm not perfect, you know, my life is far from perfect at the moment. I've just found out as well that my mum's investigation into my mum's death is going to go to a judicial review now, which means that now there's a real fight on our hands. It could take a very long time, it could take several years before we get a positive outcome. So we shall have to see how that goes. I will let you know. As soon as I know anything, I'll let you know as soon as I can. As for how I'm doing in myself, I'm fine actually. I'm not too bad. Had a bit of a mad dash on Tuesday morning to the chemist before work to get my repeat prescription, so that was fun. And I was down to my last tablet as well, which I seem to be guilty of doing virtually every month now. It's not because I intend it to be that way, but it's it's basically because I'm trying to get on with my life. I don't want to be defined as someone with a mental illness. Yes, I have got one, and it's a mild to moderate one, but unfortunately, in spite of the fact that I have got a mental illness, I still have a life to lead. I still have responsibilities to myself and to others, and people have said, you know, numerous times to me, even going back as far as the middle of last year when my mother died, that I seem to have coped really well. Well, one thing I will just reiterate that I've said before to all of you is that yes, it does seem like I'm coping, and yes, I do cope most of the time, but it's something I really have to work on, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I have had a few struggles here and there, you know, but it's part of life, really. You know, we're never ever going to have a life that's going to be completely free of challenges or of obstacles or adversity. You know, that's just how it is. And I just want to take this opportunity now to tell you that you're all doing great. You know, regardless of how you may feel about your current situation, the fact that you're still carrying on as best you can is testament to your strength. Okay? Now, I don't proclaim to know all the answers. I don't. You know, as I said to somebody actually about 16 years ago, when he pretty much said the same thing to me once, someone I shared a house with, long time ago. You know, I was like 26, 27 years old, so it was... But what I said to him was, I don't have all the answers, I only have the answers that are right for me. People can suggest things, they can advise things, they can give you tips, they can give you tools, they can give you resources to try and help you, but the main decision has to come from you in the end. That's just how it is. You know, which seems a little scary, but let me tell you this: the fact that the main decision comes from you, the main choices are down to you, actually gives you power. Because when it comes to your recovery, you're the boss. You know, you're the only person who will know deep down instinctively what is right for you. So, although people have said to me over the last sort of 3 years, you know, they've said, oh, you know, why don't you try this and do this? It works for me, it's worked really... Yeah, it might well work for those other people, but it might not work for me. And as I've said before, since I've started doing peer-to-peer work for self-help services, one thing that I will mention is that the very first person that I did offer one-to-one support to would often tell me the same thing. He would say, right, you've got to lead me. You lead me to where I need to go. I've come to you for help and I need you to help me get to where I need you to lead me to where I need to be. And I said, well, I can't do that. And when he asked me for the reason why, I said, I can't tell you what it is you need to do. I can advise, you know, like I've just said a moment ago, I can advise things, I can suggest things, but I can't make you do anything. Because my reason for that is because if I suggest something to you, if I say, here, go away and do this, and it doesn't work, you try it, you take me at my word, it doesn't work and it isn't right for you, then that's let us both down, basically. That's not fair on either of us. So that is the reason why I only make suggestions. I don't force people to do anything. It's not. That's why I also don't have a lot of rules in my group either. The only rules that I have is that you are respectful and helpful to each other, and that's it. You know, that's all you need to be. You know, you don't have to be. You don't have to have all the answers for people. Sometimes you can just go on my group, you can read the posts, you can absorb what information you need to from them and put that information into practice. If it's in the form of tips and advice, then you can put them into practice for your own benefit if you feel that that advice is right for you. And that's the only thing I ever ask of people, is to not set themselves up to take on things that they're not ready for. You know, what you have to remember is we're all different, and what works for one person might not necessarily work for another one. You know, there's an old expression I came across as a child that has stuck in my mind ever since, and that is, one man's meat is another man's poison. And I genuinely do believe that, and I always have done. That's why I don't follow the crowd, because I know that what the crowd might feel is appropriate for them, it might not necessarily be right for me. So, and people have said to me, you know, in the past, oh, you try too hard to be different. I don't try to be different, I am different. You know, we're all different. And I think one thing that makes it hard in terms of maintaining optimum mental health is this expectation that society has of how you dress, how you speak, how you come across, how you are perceived by others, you know, reputation, image, all of that kind of stuff. I personally don't think that stuff is actually very important. Yeah, it matters, of course it does, it has some importance, but it's not everything. Although nowadays we live in a world where it seems to have become everything. And I, for one, just don't see the point in that, trying to, you know, running yourself into the ground just to try and keep up with what society expects. You know, you have to do what's right for you. This is your life. You only get one, and you've got to live it as best you can. So I'm going to leave you on that note, people. Just keep it up. Keep up the great work. Keep smiling, and I'll see you soon. Okay, ciao.